Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Franchise Interviews. For over 6 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 7 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Matt Barker, the co-founder of the Totally Nutz franchise. Founded in 1992 and franchising since May of 2014, Totally Nutz has attracted thousands of customers with its delectable flavors and varieties of cinnamon glazed nuts, including almonds, pecans, and cashews. I'm going to talk to Matt about that in just a moment on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we got a great show.
Are you looking for a franchise that delivers? Businesses will always need shipping, and for more than 25 years, loyal customers have depended on Unishippers for reliable savings and exceptional customer service. Unishippers is focused on just one thing: helping small and medium-sized businesses save time and money on all their shipping needs. And as the largest reseller of complete shipping services in the country, we have the buying power to ensure that we succeed. The Unishippers franchise offers low startup costs, no equipment or real estate required because they're not retail, residual income, and a quality of life and work-life balance. For more information on becoming a Unishippers franchisee, go to www.unishippers.com and click Franchise Opportunities or call Franchise Development at 801-708-5822. That's 801-708-5822.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 7 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Matt Barker, the co-founder of the Totally Nutz franchise. Founded in 1992 and franchising since May of 2014, Totally Nutz has attracted thousands of customers with its delectable flavors. Hey, Matt, how you doing today? Welcome to the show.
Hey, doing great.
Oh, that's great. I said the show's going to make me hungry, isn't it, Matt?
Oh, too bad you can't smell them when we're roasting them.
That's what I was saying. You know, it was funny because I could almost smell them. We were on the internet this morning. I think Vimeo was one of the websites that we were on, and we were watching. I think it was you and your wife inside the store, and you could actually almost smell the nuts. And I said, oh, God, that must be amazing. It must be hard to walk by the store as a customer, Matt. I mean, I know for me, I love nuts, so I wouldn't be able to just walk right by your store. So that must be difficult, isn't it?
Yes. It's amazing how many people that don't like nuts, and then when we ask them to try that great smell, they get kind of hooked and sink, line and sinker.
That's fantastic. Well, I'd like to ask our guest, where are you calling from this morning, Matt?
Hey, I'm calling you from St. George, Utah, and when people hear Utah, they think Salt Lake City, Utah, and we're an hour and 40 minutes north of Las Vegas.
Okay.
So we're called we're the Palm Springs of Utah, basically.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's a great location, and I guess that's where your headquarters is located, then, Matt. Yes.
Yes, right here in sunny St. George, Utah.
That's fantastic. This was a great story. You know, when I started researching Totally Nutz, I thought it was an interesting story. I was, reading a little bit about your background, and, I thought maybe you could tell our wife if you could dive into, the history of Totally Nutz and how you came up with the concept.
Well, my wife and I, we started working for a company out of San Francisco, and we were one of the top sales teams for the company for 4 years, and we just kind of wanted to do something on our own. And we realized out there in the marketplace that everybody at all the different venues that we were going to for the company, everybody was eating a snack. And so that's how we got into the nut business.
Wow, the light bulb went off, right? It's like when you see, it's little things like that happen from your previous experience that sometimes, you get these really great ideas. I know you were a snowboarder too, right? So it sounds like, your life provides you with a little more opportunity to do things like that. It sounds like, you have a family too as well, Matt, so you get to spend more time with your family, I guess.
Yeah, that's what's so exciting about the Totally Nutz franchise opportunity is it's a lifestyle. It's what's so neat is that you can work as hard as you want, and then you can play as hard as you want, and you can determine when you want to work and when you want to play. And so that's what we like about it, and that's what's worked for us.
That's fantastic. You're listening to Franchise Interviews, and we're speaking with Matt Barker, and Matt is the co-founder of the Totally Nutz franchise. And, Matt, maybe you could talk, a little bit about, the franchise Totally Nutz itself. Instead of, saying, if someone were to come up with you and say, so what do you guys do? And you wouldn't just say, well, we're a nut franchise. How do you describe Totally Nutz to someone?
Well, that's what's unique about us is that, there's a lot of concession business out there, and, it's a huge market, but it's the fun and outgoing personality that we can have because in a franchise of Totally Nutz, we're basically a small factory right on location as you've seen us in our mall locations and different things that we've done. And that's what's so neat is that you're interacting with the customer and having fun with them, even if they don't buy or they do buy. And so it's kind of a friendly atmosphere, and it's just turned into a fun job, and it's not really what you would consider a job because it's just so much fun. And so we do 3 types of cinnamon glazed nuts, and that, like you were saying, it was the almonds, pecans, and cashews. Yeah. And we really target those 3 items simply because when you get like 10 different items in a location and you're sampling 10 different items, everybody gets their palate cleaned out and they get frustrated of what product they really like the best. And so we just stick to three products, and that seemed to work really great for us.
That's very clever. How do you bring customers into the store, Matt? I mean, I was getting the perception, that a lot of people, were walking into the store. I mean, of course, it's got to be the smell, for one, I imagine. What else was, bringing the customers into the store? It looked like it was pretty crowded when I was watching the video.
Yeah, the number one thing is the smell, and they think it's a cinnamon roll or something like that. But what really drives the customer is the steam that comes off the kettle when we're finishing a batch. We just throw some water on at the end, and that smell and that glaze, they see a factory right in front of them, and then we're enticing them with a great sample that's hot right out of the kettle. And so that's what really, they see the excitement that we draw as a company, and people are like, wow, what are they doing over there? They're having too much fun or what's going on, and they see that excitement. So that's how we
that's
draw
the perception I got too, Matt, when I was watching it was an real exciting franchise. I've done a lot of these interviews, over 8 years, and your franchise really intrigued me when I was watching it. I said, wow, this is really interesting because it really appeals to the customer's senses, whether it's smell and taste and, just the visual aspect of it. Just, it seemed like you had all the aspects covered, So I just thought it was really clever how you came up with everything. Who came up with the name, by the way? Do you get credit for that, or is that your wife? Or it's a great name, by the way.
Well, I do have to give credit to my wife. Like you said, we've been doing the business since 1992 till now, 2014, and about 3 years into it, it's real crazy at Christmas time because we're in the malls and we're working 16-hour days, and it's a grind. And my wife's like, "We're totally nuts. We're crazy to be doing this because we don't."
That's
Christmas
great.
if you're doing a mall and working 16-hour days, you're catering to everybody else's Christmas out there.
Sure.
And so we thought it was because we're fun and energetic, and that was the greatest name that we could come up with. And she says, "Hey, we're just totally nuts about doing this business."
That's fantastic. It really is. It's very clever. How has technology played a role in your business, Matt? I mean, how do you implement technology or use technology for Totally Nutz?
Well, what was new for us this year is that we started working with an iPad in our stores, being the register, and they could sign on they could sign their credit card right on the iPad. So technology that way is a new thing for us, which is really nice. Yeah. The new franchisees that come in, they're going to be getting an iPad, and it'll have the Bible and the whole book right in the iPad itself. So, we're really interested in technology in our business because we know it'll make us faster and better and in the marketplace. Of course, for years we've been Totally Nutz on the website for, doing sales and different things like that through internet. But, it's been a great role in technology for us as a franchise.
Fantastic. How about your industry, Matt? I mean, are there any numbers on your industry? I was trying to figure out, I was saying, okay, it seems like it could be the snack industry. It could be, I guess, the nut industry. Are there any numbers on the industry that you guys are in?
Well, we're kind of in the snack industry, and it's in the billions. Yeah,
it is.
There's so many things, and what's so neat about the concept of being into the snack business is, back in the early days, back in the early 1930s when they had the Depression and everything, they couldn't do a lot back then, because it was a Depression. But they always went to the movie, and they always went out to get an ice cream or a snack. And
that's
true. What's been so unique with our business is that with the economy going up and down, we've actually increased 5 to 10% every year with our different products that we come out with. And that's what's so neat is because it's a snack item, somebody can afford a $3 item or a $15 or a $20 package. So you got the versatility of being able to cater to anybody's budget.
That's very clever, and I've read that before, so I would certainly agree with you. You're listening to Franchise Interviews, and we're speaking with Matt Barker, the co-founder of Totally Nutz. And one of the questions we like to ask on our show, especially to someone like yourself, Matt, is what's been, it's probably hard to narrow it down to one thing, but what's been one of the most interesting things that's happened to you since launching Totally Nutz?
Well, to be honest with you, we've just recently have launched it, and the excitement that we're hearing from it right now, just like from what you're saying, just seeing it, the excitement is so exciting. Yeah. We've got 2 franchisees that are coming aboard within the next week. They're just reading over the fine print. And, we've got a lot of people that are so excited. They want a turnkey operation. They want to be able to be successful like we are. And with the years of experience that we have, we can help them. We're here to help them, and that's what's so exciting is that it's just another venture for us of excitement like we're already doing with just selling the nuts. Now we can have somebody else learn the lifestyle and have fun with it. If they're a fisherman or if they're a hunter or if they're, their hobbies, whatever their hobby is, they can go do that, and then they can go work hard, and then they can go back to, like I said, our motto is work hard, play hard. Have a great time.
And it's one of the things I got, too, from studying your franchise was, it's a means to an end. We've said that, on our show on several occasions is that, a lot of times when you get into, certain types of franchises, it is a means to an end where I thought of you were saying, okay, this is, someone who likes to snowboard and likes to spend time with his family. So it was a means to an end for you, and as you said, with a lot of other people, if they like to fish or they like to boat or whatever it is they like to do, it allows them that opportunity, So I thought that was really I thought it was very clever. It's going to be interesting for you, I imagine, too, in opening, those, first several franchises. It's probably going to be a little emotional for you and your wife, I imagine.
Oh, yeah, it's like giving our baby up a little bit, but we see it as a bigger family to us, and so we're just like we're adding somebody else to our family. And to go back a little bit of like what you're talking about, we have 4 children, and this weekend I got to go down to California and watch my daughter play in a soccer tournament, a very high-level soccer tournament, and win the championship last night, and I drove all the way home today so that I could be on the radio with you.
Wow, that's
fantastic.
Just,
I've had 2 hours of sleep, but it's exciting to be able to be with your family and be able to experience what they're going through in life, and that's what's so neat about it.
And it's true, when you enjoy what you do, Matt, and I got that impression, in studying you and your wife, is that you do enjoy what you do, and it's nice that, when you only get 2 hours sleep, you can still function during the day, where when you're doing a job that you don't enjoy doing, it makes it a little difficult, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people get in that rut, the 9 to 5 or the 8 to 4, and it's like, what do we do, Sure. And so this is what's neat. One of the franchise people that are coming aboard with us, they just want to do farmers markets on weekends and make an extra $5,000 to $1,000 a weekend.
That's
Some
clever.
other people are looking to make $50,000 to $100,000 a year. It just kind of depends on what they want to do and what the income that they need, extra income that they want to make. So that's exciting.
Speaking of your franchisees now, I mean, what will you be looking for in your franchisees? Will there be any types of characteristics you'll be looking for? Or?
Well, to be honest with you, I've got a technician that's coming aboard that works for the hospital, and he's the one that wants to just do farmers markets and things like that. Now I have an attorney that works for a hospital in California, and he's wanting to do malls for Christmas, and really wants to look at it as a business to retire onto after he's done. And so the versatility, what I see in it is that it depends on, it can be a single person that wants to do weekend shows. It could be a big family. What worked for us in our family is every one of our children has worked for us. So they know what real work is. And that's what the children today that are 16 to 30 years old, they want to get a paycheck now and work later.
Sure.
But we're teaching our children at 11 years old how to count money back to a customer, which we don't get that nowadays. You have a machine that tells you how much change to give back to a customer. If you give them change and try to round it off so that you get no more change back, in some restaurants that you go to, they can't even count money back. And so we instill teaching our children the values of how to count money, how to learn the business, and work hard, and then they get paid for what they're doing. So we worked as a family. We worked together, and it's a neat that some of my kids roast, some of them work the front counter and take orders, and it's just so it really depends on what you want to instill. Now that, for example, that technician, that guy that wants to come in, he wants to teach his children as well the values of working and different things. So it can be, just any type of person out there. But the big target, is to try to teach people how to work hard and be able to have a good time and make a good, honest living out there. So it's fun, and it's going to be exciting to see what happens.
That's fantastic. Another thing I liked about Totally Nutz as well, Matt, is the we over the years, because a lot of people even know that I do the radio show, so they ask me, I say, okay, well, what type of franchise should I get into? And I'll start asking them little questions about themselves. And a lot of times people will say, well, I don't want to sell anything, and I was saying that this is a great franchise because you're appealing to people's senses, when it's not high-pressure sales, is it? I mean, people are smelling the nuts, and, they're seeing this interesting environment and experience of Totally Nutz. So it's not high-pressure sales, is it?
No, it's not. But it's interesting because I've had people in the past that have worked for me, and they'll just stand there and wait for the order to come up to the counter. But
right.
but it's more than that. If you can give them a sample, if you just say, hey, would you like a sample? And as soon as you give them a sample, they're like, wow, you're roasting right here. I didn't know you were even roasting. I mean, like you said, it's not high pressure at all. It's very simple.
Right.
11-year-old kid can do it, and a 50-year-old gentleman can do it. So it's very fun and exciting. That's what's so neat about it.
That's great. What will the training be like for your new franchisees, Matt? I mean, how will that work? Will they come to corporate? Do you go out to their location? How does that work?
They'll come to corporate, and what we'll have here in St. George, Utah, is that we'll have a training. So some people will only want to do a farmer's market, for example.
Right.
So we'll teach them how to set up a booth, and we'll tear it down, and then we'll teach them the basics of roasting and how that goes. And so it's a step-by-step operation. Now, we'll have people like we're in a soccer stadium in Salt Lake City, Utah, the Salt Lake Real soccer stadium. And so those are permanent locations. So we'll teach them, people that want permanent locations in a mall or in a stadium, a football, basketball stadium, wherever they want to go. And then we'll teach them how you can close up real easy because it's a permanent location versus, doing a festival or doing a farmer's market. You're in and out, which is really neat. So they'll learn everything right here. It's going to be a 3 to 4 day, schooling, hard knocks of how to do it. And we'll even go out to their first venue and help them out because we want them to be successful. And
of course.
we're there to back them up 100%. And so, yes, it's right here in St. George, Utah is where they would get their full training of the Totally Nutz franchise.
It sounds like, too, there's some flexibility on the location, too, that would not all franchisors, provide that to their franchisees. In other words, you're allowing your franchisee to sell at a farmer's market. But, originally I was thinking, okay, a lot of times there's going to be many of these franchises, I suspect, in a mall. Would it be more like a food court situation, or would it be like in another section of the mall? Have you thought about that yet, as far as the location?
Yes. We're better off not in the food court. We're better off like they call them kiosks. And the kiosks are in the center of the malls. Right. So you're mingling with people that are walking back and forth when they're going to the big department stores. True. So you're getting that spur of the moment sell versus if you're going to the food court, you're going to eat and you're not really looking for a snack. That's what's nice about us being out in the center of the action. We've been in line in a mall where you'll do a 30% less in a mall because you were in line because you weren't out amongst the people and they couldn't see you roasting out there in the ambiance. So, yes, you definitely want to be out in the middle. In the airport, you're out in the middle in a kiosk. Yes. You've seen those kiosks out there. Yeah. So you can be on a small kiosk or a bigger kiosk. Just depends on how much you want to do in that kiosk. Now, for example, you saw some of the video that we had. We had Christmas tins, gift boxes. Mm-hmm. So we were doing some high volumes. We got corporate people looking at gift packs where they'll buy 30 or 40 of them, So that's the exciting part of the business as well. So in a mall location, that would be more of a permanent in the kiosk, or you can actually, if you're doing a farmer's market, you're tearing down and setting up, going to another farmer's market. Sometimes they're on Wednesday and sometimes they're on Friday. So it just depends on where you want to go to actually set that up. So that's true. It's exciting.
What's been a typical day like for someone like yourself, Matt? I mean, in all the years of doing this, is there such a thing as a typical day? As a franchisee.
Yes, a typical day is relaxing in the morning, getting started for the day. Mm-hmm. If you've got a venue coming up, there's a few days where you're going to be loading a trailer. Just doing some basic things, but then you can have fun, and then when you go to the show, you go set up, and then you tear down. So, I mean, a typical day is being with, to me, is being with my family, starting the day off right, and then going to work for 3 or 4 hours, coming back, being with my family, and then turn around. And if I have to go for a day and a half to go out of town to do a venue, I'm back and I can do some things during the week, which most people can only do things on the weekends with their family, where I'm doing it during the weekdays. So it's exciting. A typical day is totally different than a typical 9-to-5 job, you know. So, I mean, it could be you're working from 6 and 8 o'clock at night getting ready for that show the next day, or, you know, so you kind of determine your hours of when you want to work and work it around your schedule. So that's what's so neat about it is you've got the flexibility to be able to do whatever you like.
That's fantastic. What advice would you give to our listeners, Matt? We call them aspiring entrepreneurs. You know, I mean, many of them know they want to go into franchising, but it seems a little overwhelming to a lot of them. They just simply don't know where to begin. Is there any advice you can give them in their quest to buy a franchise?
Well, I think they need to look at what they really want out of a franchise. You know, they really have to see do they want a 9-to-5 job? Do they want to be in a permanent location where they're working from 10 to 9 o'clock in a mall? Or do they want to work a weekend and have the weekdays off? So they really need to determine if they want a day in and day out job, which is great for Totally Nutz. You can do day in and day out and be very successful and have managers and different things and being able to oversee that. But just looking at franchises in typical, that's what's so neat about Totally Nutz franchises. You can cater to their lifestyle of what they want to do. So my thing to them would just say, you know, you've got to look at what you want in life and how you want to structure that out. And it's just so fun with the Totally Nutz because we're always having fun with the customers. It's funny because they're like, can I jump in and help you sell? Because, you know, we're having too much fun back there, you know, and different shows that we're at. And it's crazy fun, and it's exciting. We love it. So for those listeners out there, if you want to jump aboard a great opportunity, it's a fun, great business in the nut business. I didn't know I was going to be in the nut business almost 24 years now. You know, and my neighbors are doctors and lawyers, and it's like, oh, he's just a nut salesman, you know, and we just have fun, you know.
That's fantastic.
It's a great business.
That's great. I can ask you this question because you're the co-founder of the company. What are Totally Nutz plans for the future, Matt? I mean, if you can, you know, look into a crystal ball 3 to 5 years down the road, where do you see the company?
I see the company well over 150 to 200 franchisees out there really being successful because we have a great system. We've taken a full year to get this franchise launched the correct way of having the actual products in the mixes ready for the franchisees. So it's a very, very easy turnkey operation. And so my sites are helping people to be able to, you know, when I first started doing the nut business, I had family and friends that have lost jobs, and I got them started in the business. And what a great opportunity to actually have a system that works for them and being able to help other people be successful like I am. And that's what it's all about. You know, when I first started the business, I'm like, I got to keep this trade secret away from everybody else, and I'm the only one that's going to be successful. But if you can help others be successful, you can reap more of a reward in life. And that's what I see. I've helped so many other people be successful, and it's a great, neat thing to be out there and helping people be successful. And it's exciting, you know, because I just know that we have a great system.
That's fantastic. What's the best way for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee, Matt? Any websites they should go to?
Yeah, totallynutswithaz.com is our website, and they can get all the information right there. We have an 800 number, and it's just a great business. We're excited to launch this and have a great time having fun selling nuts.
That's fantastic. And I want to already invite you back next year as you continue to grow, Matt. I'm looking forward to, I'm going to keep my eye on your franchise. And I'm anxious for you guys to actually come out here to Eastern Pennsylvania on the East Coast. So I'm waiting for you.
Yes, we'll be excited to be there.
That's fantastic. It was a pleasure talking to you, Matt. And we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 6 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Hi everyone, edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, we've been hosting franchise interviews now over 6 years and 300 shows, and during that time we've had some incredible quotes on the show. Today you're going to get to hear from Nancy Bigley, who is the CEO of Bottle & Bottega. And one of the questions we frequently ask on the show is, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? And I thought Nancy's response was really quite brilliant. So here we go with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising.
That came up this week, and how do we need to move through that? So.
Fantastic. You've been involved in franchise, like you said, not to make you feel old, but you've been involved in franchising for a while now. What advice would you give to our listeners? We call them aspiring franchipreneurs, Nancy. You know, most of our listeners, they want to buy a franchise, and I think a lot of them just don't know where to even begin because, you know, there's just so many concepts out there today, isn't there? It's just like, where do you start? What would you say to them?
Yeah, you're right. It's so overwhelming, I know, and even just me when I was looking at, you know, the different concepts, and so I've been in their shoes, and it is overwhelming. And I think, you know, first and foremost, of course, like you know, the business needs to speak to you. I mean, I think you need to be passionate about it. The business model obviously has to work. So, I mean, just the baseline pieces there. I mean, the model's got to work. It's got to fit your revenue profile and you know, just hours of operation and all those sorts of things that make sense. And but then I think, you know, it's all about, too, once you get past that initial piece and it's something that you're excited about, you know, then you want to really talk to your franchisor. Like, you have to have a connection with your franchisor. You have to, you know, you have to see the vision. You have to feel the passion. You have to feel like it's somebody that you could be a partner with for, you know, minimum of 10 years. And is this somebody that I want a relationship with? And, you know, what are their franchisees saying? And, you know, are all the things that I'm hearing in discovery, you know, really what those franchisees are still feeling when they get out into the market. And And do you connect with the franchisees? Because, again, the thing that I love so much about franchising is it's such an amazing community. So I feel such a huge responsibility to bring together the right people, because you're building a community of franchisees and a family. And, I love that we have all of these amazing backgrounds and, smart people out there that, look, there's a lot of great ideas out there. Not every one of us is, I don't have every single answer, and my business partner, so we leverage all of these amazing people. So I think, be passionate about whatever the business is, and really feel like you see that same vision, and you connect with your franchisor, and they're going to give you the support that you need to move forward.
I had a feeling you'd have a detailed response to that question, by the way.
Shocker,
which
right?
is fantastic. We have this great quotes in franchising podcast that we do is like, advice to, like 5-minute clips, and I think we're going to put that one in there. I think it's
Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we'll